Back to the book. Colonel General Paulus and his chief of staff, whose fanatical will to hold out was well known among the staffs, relentlessly held on to their fatal decision. On their part, many generals and their staffs remained the executioners of the orders of destruction. Under these sorry circumstances for fighting, suffering, and dying continued. Torturingly and terribly, after the splitting of the pocket, the death agony of the army continued for a further week. In the general dissolution and catastrophe, it was every man for himself. More and more order and discipline broke down. Here and there in the cellars, the still able-bodied and combat-worthy hid among the sick and wounded. Cases of uncomradery conduct, theft of provisions, refusal to obey orders, and open mutiny mounted. It's a little late. The elementary drive of self-preservation no longer allowed the question of right or wrong to be raised. And in the same way that the differences between the front line and the rear echelon were being erased, so were the differences in rank and position. In the final days, summary law was imposed in Stalingrad with drastic punishments for any crime. Looters were to be shot within 24 hours. Hundreds of German soldiers who had become weak in their misery thus became victims of German bullets. One could no longer generally speak of courageous and heroic fighting. Certainly here and there were individual deeds of courage, personal initiative, and noble self-sacrifice. But by and large, only a mute submission to the inescapable fate remained to the bitter end. It was rather the silent heroism of acceptance of suffering and submitting. Not the picture that gets painted very often.